That was awful. That was a birth wound. I came in with that and it followed me my whole life. Trauma brainwashing. It's your brain programmed because of the way things were early in your life. You may just feel like you were always that way. You were born that way. You don't know where it came from. You only know that you have it to the point that you think that it's just your personality. Now, it's debatable how and why someone might come into life like that. And it's almost like it doesn't matter how and why, because it was a fact. Again, sticking to the facts. I was that way and that followed me. I never learned as a child how to have a voice, but it wasn't until I started healing, and we're all on this healing journey. I guess the moment we're born, we're on a healing journey anyway, but healing definitely amped up when I started looking at my dreams in Akashic Records. So this birth wound was a trauma response. You can say, oh, that's because you were abused when you were 2. And that's why you started acting that way. Okay. I mean, it doesn't matter. That's what I'm trying to say. The point is, let's get rid of that. You carry that your whole life, that birth wound or 2-year-old wound, whatever. You carry that. Hatred of parties followed me into my adult life. I would do anything I could do to not go to a party. That's how much I hated it. I would lose out on friendships because being a young woman, your friends, they like to go to parties, and trying to have a relationship, especially with someone who's very outgoing, it just didn't work because they wanted to go and do this and be with friends, and I was so freaking uncomfortable. I was just awkward. And I can imagine I wasn't that fun to be around anyway. I am now a person who can enjoy a party. This is me now, which is just so bizarre for me to even be able to say this, but I actually enjoy them. So what did I do? I did a lot of work on my birth wound, and I don't think that you're going to do one thing and it's gone. You might do one thing and several things are addressed, several types of trauma responses. You could do one thing. Let's say you do my birth wound program. It's a 7-week program. You're not going to solve your entire life. And if anybody says, oh, do my 6-week program or do my 90-day program, and everything that you've been through, all the traumas you've had and issues, they're all going to be gone. That's not true. So I'm not promising that, but what I am promising you is that you will get your joy back. You will. It will be a huge step for you, and you will pull off many layers. Now, I said healing is a lifelong journey. Again, we start healing as soon as we're born, not even born. When we're in the womb, we start healing. And my birth wound program actually starts in pre-birth. So pre-birth, and then it goes through time in the womb, and then it goes through the time of birth and all the circumstances around that. And then it goes to bonding with mom and dad or your caretakers. And then it even goes further into balance. So it goes to this place where you can see the highest perspective. Why I included this, so when we're planning for our birth, if you believe in that kind of thing, when we're sort of, okay, what do I want to get out of this? Why do I want to be born? We're going through this thing and we're planning all of this out. We do have this higher perspective, and then that allows us to see all of the different players, all of the different challenges that we need to put in our life. And it allows us to plan our lifetime from a balanced perspective. So then the birth wound takes you through that to remember that balanced perspective. And then the final piece of it is your actual physical reproductive system, which we all have a reproductive system. And the reason that this is important is because when we have a birth wound, the first negative energy that we place into our physical body is negativity on our own reproductive system, because we were born from 2 reproductive systems. Any negativity that we feel or experience in that whole pre-birth to bonding process, we place negativity and that programming that I was talking about into our reproductive system. And if we do not address that, we end up with illness in the reproductive system. So the birth wound healing addresses that. How does it happen? Well, the birth wound takes you through, it's actually called 12 chakra birth wound transformation journey, but there's actually 13 chakras in it. It's just that the Earth Star chakra is considered the 0th. And okay, at one point I channeled what each of these chakras are holding that has to do with a birth wound that we can release. So then I set up the birth wound to go through all of these chakras and to release that negativity, that programming. And then, of course, out of our body that has to do with what we're still holding on to with regard to any of the birth wounds that we have. And we meet every week and go through this healing process together. And of course, dreams are a big part of it. But I'm not just talking about the dreams that you have at night. I'm talking about, especially for people who don't remember their dreams, there's actually a technique to basically help you create or generate dream information just by tuning into it. And I take you through that. So I use that way to help you create dreams, because doing that is just really important to the process. Because when you have a birth wound, again, remember, you don't know where this came from. So we need to use some sort of process that isn't necessarily just talking it through, right? Because that's not really going to get down into the weeds like we need to get. So you meet with me once a week and we take this 7-week journey together, and you receive these dream seeds or these meditations that I created. And each different dream seed brings up the exact programming that needs to come up for that part of the journey for releasing from the chakras. And also there's worksheets if you're that kind of person that likes to journal or have questions to ask yourself. Little exercises to go through to help you process. And it's questions like, hey, when you hear this phrase, how does that feel to you? So I say a phrase like, it's safe to speak up. How does that feel to you? Do you get the chills? Do you get a little knot in your stomach? Does it elicit a certain memory when you spoke up and when somebody else yelled at you or something like that? That's the kind of thing that I'm talking about. So that's how we get to that. I'm linking the info for the birth wound journey in the comments and description, but also maybe you're just curious about me right now or curious about your dreams. Well, join my school community and bring a dream or a question. Come on, welcome.